Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that might just bend your brain a little. You know, the reality you live in every day, from your morning coffee to your job? Well, what if I told you it isn't as solid as it seems? In fact, it's something we're all actively building, together, right this second.
All right, so to really get this, we're not going to start with some dry theory. Nope, we're going to start with a person, because by looking at a day in her life, we can start to see the hidden structures in our own.
So, as we go through this, think about your own morning. What's it like? Now let me introduce you to a teenager named Anaya. Her day, just like yours, is this intricate dance of interactions and, well, expectations.
So look at this. It's 5:15 a.m., before the sun's even really up, and Naya's already stepping into a specific role. She's got chores, responsibilities to her family, and these duties pretty much define the first few hours of her day.
And then, just like that, her role changes. She's not just a teenager anymore, she's a caregiver. You see? This role has its own unwritten script, right? She's guiding, she's nurturing, she's getting the little ones ready for school.
Now the scene changes again. After a long walk and a bus ride, she gets to school. And boom, she puts on a new hat. Here, she's a student. The school itself is a whole other world with its own rules, its own goals. And inside it, she's playing the part of a top student, excelling in her classes.
And it doesn't stop even after school. When she's just hanging out with her friends, there are still these unwritten rules. Think about it. She's recording videos, having fun, but she interacts with her friends one way and follows a whole different set of social rules when it comes to the boys who are there. Every little thing she does is guided by the shared agreement of what's appropriate. So you see what's happening here? Caregiver, student, friend. Anaya's juggling all these different realities in just one day. It makes you wonder, right? Where do all these rules, all these roles actually come from? Well, the answer is this amazing idea from sociology called the social construction of reality.
Okay, so how does this reality get built exactly? Well, you might be surprised. It all boils down to something super simple, something we all do every single day. We form habits.
You gotta go back to 1966. Two sociologists, Peter Berger and Thomas Luckman, they just dropped this bombshell. Their argument? Society isn't this giant external thing that just happens to us. No, it's something we build. We create it and recreate it every single day, just by interacting with each other.
And they gave this process a name, habitualization. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is simple. Think about how you shake hands, or how we all magically know how to form a line at the checkout. We just do these things over and over until they become a pattern, right? They become our shared, automatic way of getting things done without even thinking about it.
And this is where it gets really cool. When enough of us share the same habit, it kind of levels up. It transforms. I mean, your school is really just a pile of bricks and mortar, right? But because we all agree it's a school, it becomes one. That massive collective agreement, that's called institutionalization. And it's the glue that makes this whole constructed reality feel so real, so permanent.
All right, so we're building our world with habits and agreements. Got it. But what happens when an idea gets thrown into the mix? Especially a powerful idea that isn't even true.
This brings us to maybe one of the most important quotes in all of sociology. It's called the Thomas Theorem, and it says this: if men define situations as real, they are real in their consequences. What does that mean? It means what we believe to be true can actually be more powerful than what is objectively true, because our belief makes us act in a way that creates a very, very real result.
And another sociologist, Robert K. Merton, he gave this a really catchy name, the self-fulfilling prophecy. It's this wild and, sometimes pretty dangerous process where a totally false idea can literally make itself come true. Why? Just because people believe it, and so they act on it.
The perfect example of this is a bank run. Okay, so follow this. Step 1, a totally false rumor starts spreading that a bank is about to collapse. The bank is fine, but the rumor is out there. Step 2, people hear it, they panic, and they all rush to the bank to pull out their money. Well, step 3, no bank actually keeps everyone's cash just sitting in a vault. So when everyone demands it at once, the bank runs out of money. And boom, step 4, the false rumor just became a reality. The bank has failed, the prophecy fulfilled itself. Okay, this is where all these big, abstract ideas suddenly get very personal. Let's bring it back to you and talk about the different parts you're playing every single day.
So, in sociology, your status is basically your position in the social hierarchy, and they're split into two types. First, you have ascribed statuses. These are the ones you're born with or into, things you don't pick, like being a son, a daughter, or a teenager. Then you have achieved statuses. These are the ones you get through your own choices and hard work, like becoming a nurse, a student, or maybe even a millionaire.
Now, every single one of those statuses comes with a role. That's the set of behaviors everyone expects from you in that position. And sometimes this gets tricky. If the demands of just one of your roles get to be too much, like all the things a parent has to do, that's called role strain. But what if two of your roles are pulling you in opposite directions? You know, like having a huge work deadline but also needing to take care of a sick kid. That's role conflict.
This all leads to a really fantastic metaphor from another sociologist, Irving Goffman. He called it dramaturgy. And his big idea was that we're all basically actors on the grand stage of society. We're constantly performing, trying to manage the impression we give to whatever audience we have at the moment.
I mean, just think about it, right? Every new situation is like a new scene in a play. The you that hangs out with your coworkers is probably a very different character than the you who visits your grandparents. And the set design matters. A judge's robes and a gavel, a doctor's white coat, those are all props and costumes. We're always managing our performance for the specific scene and the specific audience.
And taking this one step further, a sociologist named Charles Cooley came up with this idea he called the looking glass self. He argued that our sense of self, who we think we are, doesn't just come from inside us. It's actually a reflection. We build our identity based on how we imagine other people see us.
It works in 3 steps, basically. First, we imagine how we appear to other people. Then, second, we imagine what their judgment is of that appearance. Are they impressed? Are they laughing? And finally, third, we develop our own feelings about ourselves, our pride, our shame, based on that perceived judgment. So in a way, everyone else becomes a mirror, showing us who we are.
So when you put this all together, what's the big takeaway? It's that society isn't some fixed script that's handed to you. It's more like a massive interactive play. And you're not just a background character, you're an actor, a writer, and a director, all at once. You are constantly helping to create the reality that we all share. Which leaves us with one final, pretty important question. The world is your stage. What role will you play today?